Rockers and segregated South of the 1950s. In 1961, he moved to join his relatives in South Central Los Angeles and built a more stable life. As a teenager, Shuja experienced the once riots and police occupation of his community. In and out of trouble, he spent much of his adolescent life in juvenile institutions, and when he turned 18, he was sent to Soledad prison. Within the prison walls, Shuja came of age, mentored by the leadership of the black prison movement. Shuja taught himself to read and write. He studied history and world affairs and became a leader of the growing movement within the California prison system as the Black Panther Party expanded in the community. Shuja was trained in the 1973 murder of a prison guard at the Dual Vocational Institute in Stockton, California. Despite the local community's involvement and support, Shuja and his co-defendant, Eugene Allen, were sent to San Quentin's death row in 1976. Because the district attorney had systematically excluded all African-American jurors, in 1979, the California Supreme Court overturned the death conviction. After 3 years on death row, Shuja and his co-defendant continued to fight for their innocence. Their third trial ended in a hung jury, and it was not until after a fourth trial that they were found innocent. Rather than being protected by the United States criminal justice system, Shuja often points out, I hope I'm not taking away things that you're planning to say, but we can hear this more than once, sir. Shuja often points out that he won his freedom and affirmed his innocence in spite of the system. Shuja was released in March 1981 and began work in the Bay Area, building community support for the prison movement and against police brutality. Since then, he has moved away from the Bay Area and created his own landscaping business. He now gives lectures on the death penalty, the criminal justice system, racism, incarceration, and innocence in America. I'm filled with ideals for a better future, he says. That's my struggle, and that's going to be my struggle until I die. But I have no regrets. The movement has become my life. It gave me something to live for, made me proud of myself, and offered me a greater sense of dignity. I may never enjoy the fruits of this labor, but our children will. Hopefully they won't have to experience what we experienced. We've spent many hours campaigning for something that should be here already, justice. Shuja and his wife, Phyllis Prentice, raised 3 children together, and he developed a program combining his story with original blues lyrics put to music. Shuja's indomitable spirit and commitment to justice through witness to innocence make him a powerful leader in the anti-death penalty and human rights movement. And for that reason, sir, we're very pleased that you're with us tonight. Shuja Grant.
Let me begin by saying, I don't really do speak now because I like that introduction. I've been doing a lot of good work. But my friends, these are the people in television since I've been released. I want to first, before I begin, because I know we don't have much time, but we're going to make it way out of nowhere in this. I want to thank all our guests for being here and taking the part. Legislators, lawyers who will fight for social justice and just the death penalty. For many years, when I was behind the walls, it was people like yourself that made it possible for me to be here. So thank you all for letting me be a part of this process. And last but not least, to you students, you agree that I stand today. Some years ago, as a young man, you know about my story, growing up in Lake Providence, Louisiana, growing up in segregation, moving out to California. It was a total different life for me. Growing up under martial law and seeing my whole community, the National Guards controlling our community because of riots that had happened. And as a young man, to make a long story short, as I moved out of the South and moved to South Central California, that's really where my greatest trouble began. I always considered myself as a man that had trouble systems, but I was born black in America in the 50s. I come out of my mother's womb being sweated and oppressed. And I have regrets today that it took me to the age of 18 before I could see the light and see the wrong that exists in our society. And before I could be able to I was 18 years old before I could be able to take a righteous position and understand why I was taking that position. So as experiencing the watch ride and growing up as a young man in South Central Los Angeles, coming out of the South, it was a totally different reality for me. Everything was fast, and I offer no excuse for all the things that I've done. I did it, and I say I will regret it. But as I moved to California and began to reintegrate my life with my mother and my father, my real father, I never knew that I had a second father. And I was able to come to California and reunite with my mother and father, my sisters and brothers, and it was the beginning of a new life that I thought would take me out of segregation, racism, and the brutality that I experienced growing up in the 50s. But as I got to California as a young man, I forgot about my work ethics and working on the farm, and I tried to make a few dollars, and I ended up joining gangs as a very young man. And as I joined those gangs, I was going in and out of prison as a young man. At the age of 18, I probably spent over 3 years of my life in juvenile hall. Each time that I went off and spent a year, each time that I got out, I can remember telling myself and my mother that I'd never come back again. I have changed. I'm a different person. And I had changed. And I was a different person. But as I was released from prison, I was subjected to the same environment and the same conditions. And I just didn't have the strength as a human being to resist the peer pressure. So again, I fell back into that life. It wasn't until I was 18 years old, and when I went to prison for my last time for a $35 robbery, that I hooked up with a man called Yassin Muhammad. They chained us together. We weren't friends in the beginning. And I remember them calling us all out. We had been convicted and we were going off to the big house, the state prison. I remember being 18 and they chained me up with Mr. Muhammad. I didn't know what to expect from him. But I kind of knew what to expect when I got to prison because I had been in the juvenile halls and I was kind of looking forward. I said, well, I see some of my old friends I was in juvenile hall, and once I get there, it'll be okay. But during that ride to prison, Mr. Muhammad opened my eyes to a better life and a better way. Mr. Muhammad realized I couldn't read or write, and he began to teach me, began to explain history to me and why it was important to understand the past so we can understand the present. And it was from that little encounter with Mr. Muhammad that I went on off to prison, and for the next 4 months, I was in prison with him, and I was able to receive the beginning of my education. Then 4 months later, I went on off to what we call the Gladiator School, probably the worst prison for young people in the history of California. I went off to Soledad Prison. And it was there in Soledad Prison as a young man I continued to try to learn about history and the civil rights movement and the teaching of Dr. King, Malcolm X. And we were being influenced by the Black Panther Party that was being captured and sent to prison for whatever reason. And in there, as they began to come in prison, they began to set up educational programs for young black men like myself. And I was fortunate to be educated under that program. And then, after being in a movement that was standing up just like we are here today, trying to establish a movement for social justice, not just against the death penalty, but for social justice, economic justice for all the people, not just of America, but of the world. And as I began to read and understand what was going on, I joined this movement called the prison movement that stood up for social justice and human rights for prisoners, irregardless of their fact that they have been convicted for crime and that they've been criminals in their past. So we started this movement, and the movement was basically based upon black, white, and brown coming together, recognizing the reality of their situation, and coming together as human beings to try to expose the brutality prison conditions that we were living under. Although we was criminals and we had to get convicted, but we were still human beings and deserved to be respected as that. In 1973, I never forget, I had been in prison for 5 years. A human being, a prison guard, named Barry Sanders, was killed. I was accused, along with my co-defendant, Eugene Allen. A lot of us, over 100 and some prisoners, picked up and put into the justice center. But when it was all said and done, it was Eugene Allen and myself. And I couldn't understand why I was part of that whole conspiracy program, because I was outspoken against the prison system, and I had to come and talk. I had to transfer from another prison into that prison because of my activities. So when they picked me up, it wasn't unexpected as far as I was concerned. And I remember that day when all the guards left the building. There was no one in that building but a few prisoners, myself, those 56 other prisoners. All the guards left the building, except the dead officer. And that was myself and Eugene Allen. Once they took control of the building, they all came back in. We was always taught in prison, when you see something going on, you don't run to it, you stay away from it. So you kind of, I stay here, I'm not going there, that's where everything at, or I'm going to move over to this side. But we couldn't get out of the front door because of all the extras. So we stayed in the back, and once the guards took over the building again, they came in and they arrested myself and Eugene Allen, and I still say today, that was one of the most awful experiences I ever had, and I can honestly say after 30-some years, if I had a clue of how I was going to be treated and what I had to go through that day, for those years, I'd have made a difference that day. I'd have never surrendered. Well, anyway, my friends, I went on off, and I was accused, and I was indicted. I went to 3, 4 trials. My first trial ended in a hung jury. The jury couldn't determine my guilt or innocence. And I was very fortunate in my first trial. The DA allowed one black person to be on our jury. And her name, and I never forget it, she was a supervisor, very educated black woman. All the other blacks that was contented jury, they systematically excluded them, although they parents and lawyers, doctors, or whatever, they asked them to the question. And they kicked them off. And I understood why they kicked them off, because of the racism in our trial. And how the whites came in and testified that all blacks looked alike, but yet still they could make a definitive determination on who did what. So as we went through the first trial, we were fortunate to have one black jury, and that jury couldn't determine our guilt or innocence. And it was there in my 4th trial that I was convicted and sentenced to die at San Quentin. And it was probably one of the most difficult things to accept, being a human being and perfectly healthy, and all of a sudden you stand up. There's a Miss Brown, we said you died in December 8th, the gas and